A winter storm swept across the western United States. Airlines canceled flights. Passengers waited. This was expected. Winter weather disrupts travel. Airlines know how to handle it. But at Southwest Airlines, something was different. By December 22, while other carriers began resuming normal operations, Southwest's cancellations accelerated. By December 25, Christmas Day, the airline canceled 1,635 flights, 46% of its schedule. By December 26, nearly 3,000 more. Over 10 days, Southwest canceled 16,900 flights. More than 2 million passengers stranded. Families missed Christmas. People slept on airport floors. Luggage piled up in massive, unclaimed mountains. The storm passed. The chaos didn't. Other airlines recovered within 48 hours. Southwest took 10 days. The reason wasn't weather. It was a crew scheduling system SkySolver built on technology from the 1,990 seconds. A system the airline's own pilots union had warned about for years. A system that, when overloaded, forced managers to coordinate 10,000 flight crews manually using phone calls and Excel spreadsheets. This is the story of how an airline canceled Christmas, how decades of deferred technology investment caught up in the worst possible moment, and how one of America's most beloved carriers became a case study in what happens when you outrun your tools. The irony no one expected? In July 2024, a software update from cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike crashed 8.5 million computers worldwide. Airlines grounded flights, hospitals canceled surgeries, banks went offline. Southwest Airlines, unaffected. Industry analysts speculated why. The answer was darkly ironic. Southwest's outdated software meant they weren't running the latest updates. Sometimes, being behind on technology protects you. But 18 months earlier, that same outdated technology had destroyed them. December 2022, the same old systems that saved Southwest from CrowdStrike collapsed under the weight of a winter storm and a holiday travel surge. The crew scheduling software, SkySolver, a legacy system unable to handle dynamic rerouting, buckled. Pilots and flight attendants were stranded in cities across the country, unable to reach the airline, unable to find out where they or their planes were supposed to be. One employee described the recovery process as playing Tetris with 10,000 pieces. The contrast was stark. In July 2024, old tech was a shield. In December 2022, it was a catastrophic vulnerability. Technology, it turns out, is neither inherently good nor bad. It's about context, timing, and whether your systems can handle the load when everything goes wrong at once. December 21, the storm begins. Winter Storm Elliott hit the United States on the 21st of December 2022. Temperatures plunged, blizzards paralyzed cities, power grids strained, travel ground to a halt. For airlines, this was routine disruption. Flights get canceled, crews get repositioned, passengers rebook. It happens every winter. By December 22, most airlines were recovering. Delta canceled 311 flights over the next 2 days. United, American, similar numbers. Weather delays, yes, but manageable. Southwest canceled 5,500 flights on December 25 and 26 alone. The difference wasn't the weather. Every airline faced the same storm. The difference was what happened inside Southwest's operations center when the storm hit. The system that couldn't scale. Southwest's crew scheduling system, SkySolver, was built in the 1,990 seconds. It worked. For decades, it worked. But it was never designed for the scale Southwest grew into or the complexity of modern airline operations. SkySolver's core limitation, it couldn't handle real-time dynamic rerouting. When weather disrupted flights, the system required manual intervention to reassign crews, one flight at a time. One crew at a time. In normal conditions, this was manageable. But when hundreds of flights canceled simultaneously, the system collapsed. Here's what happened. Step 1, weather disrupts flights. Planes can't take off from Denver. Crews are stranded. Flights are delayed or canceled. Step 2, SkySolver tries to reassign crews. But it can't integrate real-time weather data with crew logistics. It doesn't know where crews are. It doesn't know which planes are available. It can't dynamically adjust schedules. Step 3, manual intervention required. Crew schedulers, humans using phones and computers, try to manually assign pilots and flight attendants to flights, but there are thousands of flights, hundreds of crews, federal work hour limits, hotel arrangements, transportation, logistics. Step 4, the phone system collapses. Crew members call scheduling to find out their assignments. Hold times exceed 5 hours. Some pilots went to sleep with their phones on hold and woke up the next morning still waiting. Step 5, cascading failures. Crews can't be located. Planes sit idle. Flights that could operate don't because no one knows where the crew is. More cancellations lead to more displaced crews, which leads to more manual work, which overwhelms the system further. It was a feedback loop, and it spiraled out of control. Mike Santoro, vice president of the Southwest Airlines Pilots Association, said it plainly. We don't know where we are, they don't know where the airplanes are, and it's frustrating. Point-to-point versus hub and spoke. Southwest's operational model made the crisis worse. Most major airlines, Delta, United, American, use a hub and spoke system. Flights connect through central hubs. When disruptions happen, airlines can consolidate operations at hubs, reroute crews efficiently, and contain the damage geographically. Southwest uses a point-to-point model. Flights go directly between cities without connecting through major hubs. This is more efficient in normal operations. Passengers save time, the airline saves money. But in a crisis, it's a nightmare. When a snowstorm hits Denver, Delta can reroute crews through Atlanta, United can consolidate at Chicago. Southwest, every route is independent, every crew displacement cascades. There's no central buffer to absorb the shock. One industry analyst put it simply, point-to-point is great for efficiency, it's terrible for resilience. When Winter Storm Elliott hit, Southwest's entire network was vulnerable, and the crew scheduling system couldn't keep up. The human cost, Taylor McLean, 34, was flying home to Salt Lake City from Chicago on December 21. His morning flight canceled. He rebooked for 3 p.m. It didn't depart until 9 p.m. His return flight on December 26 canceled. Rescheduled for December 29, canceled again. The earliest he could get home, December 30. He was lucky, he was with family, others weren't. Skylar Lenz and his family flew from Denver to New York City to celebrate a wedding anniversary and his daughter's birthday. They flew out on December 21. They were scheduled to return on Christmas Eve. They didn't make it home until December 29, 5 days late. Across the country, passengers slept on airport floors. Families missed Christmas. Travelers spent thousands on last-minute rental cars, Greyhound buses, and hotel rooms scrambling for any way to get home. And then there was the luggage. At Denver International Airport, unclaimed bags piled 6 feet high. At Love Field in Dallas, passengers waded through mountains of luggage, searching for their belongings. Some bags sat for days. Some were never reunited with their owners. Southwest customer service lines were overwhelmed. Call centers couldn't keep up. Some passengers never received official cancellation notifications. They showed up at airports only to discover their flights were gone. Emma Ruby of the Dallas Observer captured the sentiment, "I loved Southwest Airlines because Southwest Airlines loved me." Now, like everything else good in this world, Southwest has been commandeered by capitalism. The 10-day recovery. On December 27, while other airlines were back to normal, Southwest canceled 415 flights out of Denver, 75% of its schedule there, accounting for 90% of total cancellations at the airport that day. 200 cancellations. Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, located a short distance away and handling far more flights, 31 cancellations. DFW isn't a Southwest hub. The disparity was glaring. Why couldn't Southwest recover? Because every fix required manual work, every crew reassignment, every flight reschedule. SkySolver couldn't do it automatically. Humans had to do it, one by one, using phones and spreadsheets. It took 15 days to fully stabilize operations. CEO Bob Jordan issued a video apology on December 37, days after the meltdown began. He called it an operational emergency. He acknowledged the airline had outrun its tools. But by then, the damage was done. The warnings no one heeded. This wasn't a surprise. In June 2022, 6 months before the meltdown, the Southwest Airlines Pilots Association picketed, not for higher pay, not for better benefits, for upgraded crew scheduling software. In October 2022, Southwest suffered another mass cancellation event. Over 2,000 flights canceled. SWAPA blamed poor planning and outdated systems. In November 2022, SWAPA predicted the airline was one IT router failure away from a complete meltdown. Also in November, CEO Bob Jordan publicly acknowledged that the company's growth outstripped the tools needed. He referenced Southwest's recent switch to electronic baggage tracking and weather reporting technologies other airlines had adopted years earlier. Southwest had been delivering weather reports on paper. The warnings were explicit, the union was clear, and yet nothing changed. Why? From 2018 to 2021, Southwest's full-time tech workforce declined by 27%. Overall, full-time employment dropped only 6%. The airline was cutting technology investment while growing its operations. In December 2022, just weeks before the meltdown, Southwest reinstated its quarterly dividend, $0.18 per share, the first such payout by a major U.S. carrier post-pandemic. Shareholder returns prioritized over system resilience. Captain Lonero, a Southwest pilot for over 35 years, reflected on the shift. Herb Kelleher, Southwest founder, was very operationally oriented. Gary Kelly, CEO from 2004 to 2022, was an accountant. His style became more focused on finances and less on operations. Bob Jordan, who became CEO in February 2022, inherited a ticking time bomb. The meltdown wasn't his fault, but it was his crisis. The aftermath: immediate costs, $1.1 billion in refunds, reimbursements, and lost ticket sales. 2 million passengers stranded. 16,000 900 flights canceled. Federal response: on the 18th of December 2023, nearly 1 year later, the U.S. Department of Transportation announced a $140 million penalty against Southwest, the largest civil penalty ever imposed on an airline for violating consumer protection laws. The violations included failing to provide adequate customer service, not notifying passengers promptly of cancellations, delaying or denying refunds, leaving passengers stranded without assistance. Of the $140 million, $35 million was a direct fine. The remaining $105 million was allocated toward compensating future passengers, essentially vouchers for Southwest travelers. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg was unambiguous: this is a message to the entire airline industry. They must take care of passengers, or we'll use the full extent of our authority to hold them accountable. Technology overhaul. Southwest partnered with IBM to overhaul its scheduling systems. The airline committed $1.3 billion to modernize its IT infrastructure. By October 2023, Southwest had hired 12,800 new employees, including over 60 crew schedulers. The airline upgraded its crew assignment software, purchased additional de-icing equipment, and streamlined internal communications. Brand damage. Southwest's reputation took a severe hit. For decades, the airline was known for customer-friendly service, reliability, and low fares. After December 2022, trust evaporated. Travelers began switching to competitors. Social media exploded with numbers Southwest fail. The airline's stock dropped 8%. And yet, some passengers remained loyal. One traveler told NPR, "I've flown Southwest for a decade. I'll wait and see how they make this right before I decide whether to fly with them again." The lesson? December 2022. Southwest canceled 16,900 flights because its 30-year-old crew scheduling software couldn't handle a winter storm and a holiday surge. July 2024, Southwest avoided the CrowdStrike outage because its outdated software wasn't running the latest updates. The irony is almost poetic. Old technology saved them once, it destroyed them another time. But the real lesson isn't about technology age, it's about investment, foresight, and resilience. Southwest outgrew its tools. The pilots knew it, the flight attendants knew it, the CEO admitted it, but nothing changed until it was too late. The airline prioritized short-term financial returns, dividends to shareholders, reduced tech spending over long-term operational stability, and when the crisis came, the consequences were catastrophic. It's a pattern we've seen before. CrowdStrike's rushed updates, Baltimore's bridge without modern assessments, Change Healthcare's unpatched servers, organizations that defer critical upgrades, hoping the systems hold just a little longer. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Southwest bet wrong. And 2 million people paid the price.